Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me on this journey to uncover the historical enigma of Taprobana. Since 2015, I have dedicated my research to solving this mystery by examining ancient maps, historical texts, and cultural references. Today, I will share how these sources collectively point to a single conclusion. The true identity of Taprobana is the island we know today as Kalimantan or Borneo. This slide displays various locations of Taprobana as shown on old maps. It is important to note that Taprobana often appears alongside Sri Lanka and Sumatra, but as a separate and distinct location. This consistent distinction in ancient cartography suggests that Taprobana was recognized as a unique entity and not simply another name for Sri Lanka or Sumatra. Here we see that Sri Lanka, Sumatra, and Taprobana are shown together in several sources. This repeated grouping further indicates that Taprobana is not identical to Sri Lanka or Sumatra. Historical records also show that by 1564 CE, Taprobana was replaced by the name Borneo on maps. This slide explores the origins and evolution of the name Taprobana. The ancient name for Kalimantan, or Borneo, was Baruna, meaning the abode of the sea god Baruna. In Greek, this became Topobaruna, which was later altered to Topobrana, Taprobana, and ultimately Taprobana, the Taprobana we recognize in ancient literature. The variations of the name across languages and time strongly link Kalimantan to the identity of Taprobana. This slide reviews the geographical characteristics of Taprobana as described by ancient scholars. Eratosthenes and Strabo provide key details. Taprobana lies in the Eastern Sea, extends opposite Greater India, and measures approximately 1,300 kilometers in length and 925 kilometers in width, dimensions that match those of Borneo. Most significantly, ancient sources note that Taprobana experiences 2 summers and 2 winters each year. This rare phenomenon can only occur in a land that straddles both sides of the equator, clearly pointing to Borneo, and at the same time ruling out Sri Lanka, which lies entirely north of the equator. Additionally, descriptions of a greenish-tinted sea, abundant coral reefs, and shallow waters further reinforce the identification of Borneo as the ancient Taprobana. Here, we delve into the environmental and social descriptions of Taprobana. Strabo mentions 3 major rivers in southern Taprobana, details that align with the Barito, Capuas, and Kahayan rivers of southern Kalimantan. Strabo also identifies Palasi Mundus as the prominent place, which corresponds to modern-day Banjarmasin. Ancient accounts emphasize a population of 200,000, a fertile landscape, abundant wildlife, and active trade with China, all attributes consistent with historical Borneo. This slide begins a series on the identification of geographic names from Ptolemy. Each of Ptolemy's names is matched to a modern location by correlating the ancient references with names found on old maps and their present-day counterparts. Early maps of Kalimantan were simple and lacked detail, but over time, the island's shape became more recognizable as cartographic techniques improved. As mapmaking evolved, the depiction of Kalimantan's coastline became more refined and accurate, allowing us to better match Ptolemy's names with their modern equivalents. In this slide, we see the culmination of the map evolution process. The island's representation advances from rudimentary outlines to highly detailed forms. This progression provides strong evidence for connecting the ancient names and locations described by Ptolemy to the contemporary geography of Kalimantan. Let's begin the identification name by name. On this slide, we examine Ptolemy's name Cetium, which refers to a cape. On old maps, this feature appeared under names such as Graskokon, Catalan, Satalong, Salaton, and Salaton. The present-day identification is Tanjung Selatan, meaning Southern Cape, a significant promontory located at the southeastern tip of Kalimantan. This prominent cape serves as a key reference point for both ancient and modern navigation and helps confirm the match between Ptolemy's records and the geography of present-day Borneo. Ptolemy's name for this location is Nanagiri, categorized as a region. On old maps, it appeared as Nagara, Nagara. Today, it is identified as Nagara Village River. Nagara was a known place and frequently mentioned in old maps. Today, it is both a village and a river in South Kalimantan province, showing the continuity of its historical name. Ptolemy's name for this location is Baracus, categorized as a river. On old maps, it appeared as Bandarmakri, Banjarmasin, Sukadana. Today, it is identified as Burrito River. The Burrito River, sometimes called Banjar River or Banjarmasin River, is the largest river in southern Kalimantan. It is consistently referenced in both ancient and modern records, highlighting its significance in the region. Ptolemy's name for this location is Nakaduma, categorized as a place. On old maps, it appeared as Mondomai. Today, it is identified as Mondomai. Mondomai is a village in Kapuas Barat subdistrict, Kapuas Regency, Central Kalimantan Province. It appears as Mondomai in an 1896 Dutch map, illustrating the preservation of the name through time. Ptolemy's name for this location is Bachi, categorized as a social body. On old maps, it appeared as Bansi, Paco, Biajo, Bondar, Banjar. Today, it is identified as Banjar people. Banjar is an ethnic group from southern Kalimantan, founders of the Banjarmasin Kingdom. Their travels and settlements across the archipelago reflect the historical migrations described by Megasthenes and others. Ptolemy's name for this location is Korkabara, categorized as a place. On old maps, it appeared as Tamiampara, Tayampara, Tayapara, Tayaparo, Tayaparo, Tanjapura. Today, it is identified as Tanjungpura. Tanjungpura was an ancient kingdom located mostly on the south and southwest coast of Borneo according to old maps, highlighting early centers of power in the region. Ptolemy's name for this location is Orneon, categorized as an extreme. On old maps, it appeared as Simanao. Today, it is identified as Sabongo. Sabongo, now the name of a river and bay in southern Borneo, aligns with the Latin ornis or orneon, meaning bird, and the local word bongao, meaning heron or stork. Ptolemy's name for this location is Azonis, categorized as a river. Today, it is identified as Kahayan River. Kahayan is a major river in central Kalimantan, also the name of several Dayak tribes. Ancient texts describe the southern region almost touching the shore of Azonis, reinforcing this identification. Ptolemy's name for this location is Nubartha, categorized as a social body. On old maps, it appeared as Sambur, Sambar, Sambor, Sobar, Sambar, Sambai, Samban. Today, it is identified as Sambar people. Tanjung Sambar is a cape in the Muara Kandawanga National Park. The Sambar people and their region are associated with this important landmark. Ptolemy's name for this location is Lui, categorized as an extreme. On old maps, it appeared as Lao, Lav, Lao, Lava, Lawa, Lawa. Today, it is identified as Lawi or Lawai. Lawi or Lawai is an ancient city in Ket Tapang Regency, rich in diamonds and frequently mentioned on old maps. Its exact location is debated, but is well documented in both history and legend. Ptolemy's name for this location is Vlispada, categorized as a place. On old maps, it appeared as Amarang Badak, Pembuang Badak, Pemberingin Badak. Today, it is identified as Bukit Raya Mountain Range. The Bukit Raya Mountain Range, the highest peak in Kalimantan, is possibly referenced in old maps as Amarang Badak, Pembuang Badak, or Pemberingin Badak. Ptolemy's name for this location is Malaya, categorized as a mountain. On old maps, it appeared as Malawi, Malawi, Malawi. Today, it is identified as Malawi. Malawi is the name of a regency and river in West Kalimantan, its headwaters located in the Schwaner-Muller mountain range. Ptolemy's name for this location is Anubingara, categorized as a place. On old maps, it appeared as Kandawanga. Today, it is identified as Kendawanga. Kendawanga is a small town at the estuary of the Kendawanga River on the southwest coast of Kalimantan. This location is a match for Anubingara in Ptolemy's records, reflecting the continuity of the ancient name in local geography. Ptolemy's name for this location is Priapides, categorized as a port. On old maps, it appeared as Tamaratos, Tamaratos, Tamarates, Tameorato, Yamanatos, Hormata, Karimata. Today, it is identified as Sempedoc or Karimata. Sempedoc and Karimata are islands off the western coast of Kalimantan, with Karimata Strait separating Kalimantan from Sumatra. These islands were significant for ancient maritime navigation and trade. Ptolemy's name for this location is Sindoconda and Sandoconda, categorized as a social body and a region respectively. On old maps, it appeared as Sukadano, Sukaduno, Sukadana, Sukadana, Sokadana, Sukadana. Today, it is identified as Sukadana. Sukadana was an ancient kingdom known for its diamond and iron resources. Today, it is the capital of North Kayong Regency, West Kalimantan, and remains an important regional center. Ptolemy's name for this location is Podus, categorized as a place. On old maps, it appeared as Londa Salambao. Today, it is identified as Sekadao. Sekadao is a regency and town on the bank of the Kapuas River in West Kalimantan. The old name Londa is found in many historical maps, showing the region's long-standing importance. Ptolemy's name for this location is Sawana and Sawani, categorized as a river and a region respectively. On old maps, it appeared as Soni, Senar, Son, Son, Sona, Sowengi. Today, it is identified as Sungai Sambas, Sungai Kapuas. Sawana or Sawani refers to major rivers in Kalimantan, especially the Sambas and Kapuas rivers. The word sungai simply means river in Indonesian. Ptolemy's name for this location is Anaris, categorized as a cape. On old maps, it appeared as Sisar, Sorik, Sirik. Today, it is identified as Tanjung Sirik. Tanjung Sirik is a cape in Sarakai Division, Sarawak, Malaysia. Its current name reflects its historical identification with Anaris. Ptolemy's name for this location is Anurogrammum and Anurogrammi, categorized as a place and a region respectively. Today, it is identified as region of Dayak people. Anurogrammum is believed to refer to the region inhabited by the Dayak people, who are indigenous to the interior and highland areas of Borneo. Ptolemy's name for this location is Yogana, categorized as a social body. On old maps, it appeared as Milano, Milona, Milano Edge. Today, it is identified as Milano people. The Milano are among the earliest settlers in Sarawak and are known for their rich cultural traditions and influence in the region. Ptolemy's name for this location is Margona, categorized as a social body. Today, it is identified as Miri people. The Miri people, also known as Jati Merik, are the earliest known inhabitants of the area now called Miri in Sarawak, Malaysia. Ptolemy's name for this location is Galiba and Galibi, categorized as an extreme and a region, a mountain respectively. On old maps, it appeared as Balaba, Balabek, Balambakan, Labak. Today, it is identified as Balabek, Saba, Balambangan, Teluk Labak. The names Galiba or Galibi correspond to the Balabak Islands, Saba, and Teluk Labak, reflecting ancient migration and trade connections. Ptolemy's name for this location is Talakori, categorized as a marketplace. On old maps, it appeared as Kansirao, Kanshira, Kanshiaro, Kansirao, Kanskrao, Kansirao. Today, it is identified as Keningau or Kinarut. Keningau is the oldest and largest town in the interior of Sabah, while Kenarut was a strategic site during the Brunei Civil War. Both places are notable in the historical and economic development of northern Borneo. Ptolemy's name for this location is Maduti and Maduti, categorized as a marketplace and a region. On old maps, it appeared as Marudo, Maludu. Today, it is identified as Marudu, region of Murit people. Marudu is a district in the Kudat division of Sabah, Malaysia, and home to the Murit people, known for their traditional longhouses and unique culture. Ptolemy's name for this location is Phasis, categorized as a river. On old maps, it appeared as Sisar, Sisor. Today, it is identified as Sapi River. The Sapi River, found in Sabah, Malaysia, is identified with Ptolemy's Phasis and is significant for its headwaters in the region's mountainous interior. Ptolemy's name for this location is Anubingara, categorized as a social body. Today, it is identified as Lun Bawang people. The Lun Bawang, formerly called Southern Murut, are an indigenous group in the highlands of North Kalimantan, Brunei, and Northern Sarawak, known for their unique language and culture. Ptolemy's name for this location is Nagadiba, categorized as a social body. Today, it is identified as Nagaradipa people. Nagaradipa refers to a kingdom and its people in South Kalimantan, whose capital was historically located at Candi Laris and Candi Agung, reflecting a nomadic yet organized society. Ptolemy's name for this location is Magramam and Ganges, categorized as a town and a river. On old maps, it appeared as Bamkamanikan, Pomanakam, Markaman. Today, it is identified as Muarakaman and Mahakam River. Muarakaman is a town on the Mahakam River in East Kalimantan, an early Hindu center in Indonesia with ancient inscriptions in Pallava script and Sanskrit. Ptolemy's name for this location is Spatana, categorized as a port. Today, it is identified as Bontong. Bontong is a port city on the eastern coast of Kalimantan, historically important for trade and maritime activity in the region. Ptolemy's name for this location is Procuri, categorized as a social body. On old maps, it appeared as Pasir, Pafsir, Pasier, Paser, Pasir. Today, it is identified as Dayak Pasir people. The Dayak Pasir are indigenous to southeastern Kalimantan and founded the Sadungaras kingdom, which evolved into the Pasir Sultanate. Ptolemy's name for this location is Kumara, categorized as an island. Today, it is identified as Samaras, Laut Island. Samaras is located on the western coast of Laut Island, South Kalimantan, and is the modern equivalent of Ptolemy's Kumara Island. Ptolemy's name for this location is Alaba, categorized as an island. On old maps, it appeared as Alambai, Kalamba, Kalambrua, Kalaubua, Kalabo. Today, it is identified as Kalambau Islands. The Colombo Islands, off the southern coast of Kalimantan, are referenced in many old maps and remain a distinct geographic group today. Ptolemy's name for this location is Arana, categorized as an island. On old maps, it appeared as Arents, Arentis, Arantel, Karamian. Today, it is identified as Karamian Islands. The Karamian Islands are atolls off the south coast of Kalimantan, now administratively part of East Java Province. Ptolemy's name for this location is Balaka, categorized as an island. On old maps, it appeared as Balakchaya, Balakwan, Blakana, Siumbra, Salambo, Salambo, Solambo, Somanbo. Today, it is identified as Masalembo Islands. The Masalembo Islands are located in the Java Sea and are now part of East Java Province, famous for marine biodiversity. Ptolemy's name for this location is Basa, categorized as an island. On old maps, it appeared as Lubuk, Lubeck, 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 Baboen, Bawen. The word Lu here is from Pulau, which means island. Today, it is identified as Bawean Island. Bawean is an island in the Java Sea between Kalimantan and Java, administratively part of East Java Province and frequently noted in old cartography. Ptolemy's name for this location is Kalandradua, categorized as an island. On old maps, it appeared as Quiramajaba, Quiramajaba, Karaman Yava, Kariman Yava, Karimau Yava, Karimun Yava, Kariman Java, Karman Java, Kariman Java. Today, it is identified as Karimun Java Islands. Karimun Java are a group of islands off the north coast of Java, now known for their coral reefs and as a marine tourist destination. Ptolemy's name for this location is Irene, categorized as an island. On old maps, it appeared as Clemencia, Klein Enkhuizen, Enkhuizen. Today, it is identified as Enkhuizen Reef. Enkhuizen Reef, a group of coral reefs in the Java Sea near the Tanjung Sambar Peninsula, remains vital for marine navigation. Ptolemy's name for this location is Carchus and Felicus, categorized as islands. On old maps, it appeared as Banca, 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 Bilitum, Bilitun, Biliton, Bilitos. Today, it is identified as Banca and Belito Islands. The Banca-Belito Islands, lying off Sumatra, are famous for tin mining and beautiful beaches, and have a long presence in historic maps. Ptolemy's name for this location is Amin, categorized as an island. On old maps, it appeared as Anamba, Anambas, Natuna, Naima, Natuma. Today, it is identified as Anambas and Natuna Islands. The Anambas and Natuna Islands in the South China Sea are part of Riau Islands province and have been important in both ancient and modern navigation. Ptolemy's name for this location is Menache, categorized as an island. On old maps, it appeared as Timayau, Timayon, Timor, Timon, Timon, Timawan. Today, it is identified as Tioman Island. Tioman Island, off Malaysia's east coast, is renowned for its natural beauty and appears in many old maps under various names. Ptolemy's name for this occasion is Kori, categorized as an island. On old maps, it appeared as Pulo Siri, Pulo Sesir, Pulo Sili, Pulo Siri, Pulo Ser. Today, it is identified as Kulao Ray, or Lai Son Island. Kulao Ray, or Lai Son Island, is off Vietnam's coast and is known for its volcanic origins and significance in local folklore. Ptolemy's name for this location is Trinisia, categorized as an island. On old maps, it appeared as Pulo Tagau, Pulo Tagayon, Tagon. Today, it is identified as Pulau Tiga. Pulau Tiga, meaning three islands, is a group of uninhabited islands off Sabah, Malaysia, now a national park. Ptolemy's name for this location is Orneon, categorized as an island. On old maps, it appeared as Pulo Condor, Pulo Cador, Pulo Condore, Pulo Condor. Today, it is identified as Gondao or Condor Islands. The Gondao Islands in Vietnam are an archipelago with a history as places of exile and more recently for conservation and tourism. Ptolemy's name for this location is Susuwara, categorized as an island. On old maps, it appeared as Clara, Claire, Claire, Maria, Miguel, Dakin, Doctona, Ducon, Dakon. Today, it is identified as Pearl, Dakkan, Laparan, Cap Islands. These are a cluster of inhabited islands in the Sulu archipelago of the Philippines, important for their pearl fisheries. Ptolemy's name for this location is Nagadiba, categorized as an island. Today, it is identified as Naga Islands, Cebu, and Camarines Sur. The Naga Islands may refer to places in Cebu or Camarines Sur, both significant in the historical geography of the Philippines. Ptolemy's name for this location is Zebula, categorized as an island. On old maps, it appeared as Celebra, Celebes, Celebs, Celebs. Today, it is identified as Sulawesi Island. Sulawesi, formerly known as Celebes, is a major island east of Kalimantan, prominent in both old and new maps. Ptolemy's name for this location is Zaba, categorized as an island. On old maps, it appeared as Paternoster, Chapalat, Sebelastanak. Today, it is identified as Sebelana Islands. The Sebelana Islands, an atoll in the Flores Sea north of the Nusa Tenggara Islands, are now part of South Sulawesi Province. For more in-depth reading about Taprobana and the identification of Kalimantan, please consult my book, visit the dedicated page on my website at atlantisjavasea.com, or access the ebook on Google Play. These resources provide comprehensive background, references, and evidence supporting this research. In conclusion, the evidence presented throughout this research, ranging from ancient maps and names to modern geography, collectively points to Kalimantan, or Borneo, as the true Taprobana. The cartographers of the Old Era should have known that Taprobana is the true Kalimantan or Borneo, visible in the great similarities of the geographic layout, locations, features, names, and descriptions of the island and its surroundings among Ptolemies and their maps. This reinterpretation enriches our understanding of ancient Southeast Asian history and underscores the significance of Kalimantan or Borneo in the world's maritime heritage. Thank you for your attention.